Back in my day, we had to be sneaky enough to get away with cubing in class. Over 4 years ago, I made a video teaching you exactly how to do that, but now times have changed. Online classes give you way more options for cubing than in-person classes, and best of all, even if you get caught, the teacher can't take away your cubes. So let's get to the tips. This is how to cube on Zoom without getting caught. Let's get started. First of all, I have a few disclaimers. If you do this, it's at your own risk, and whatever happens to you or your cubes is not my fault. If you really need to pay attention to understand what you're learning, do that instead. Don't sacrifice your education just to cube. And if you do get caught, respect what your teacher says and don't do it again. But if you're not distracting anyone else and you have a solid grasp of what you're learning, go ahead. One more thing before we get started. Raid Shadow Legends is a free turn-based RPG mobile game for iOS and Android. I've been doing a lot of mobile gaming lately, and Raid has quickly become one of my favorites, which makes it even more awesome that they've agreed to sponsor this video. In Raid, you build your team using champions, which you unlock over time. There are over 500 champions to unlock, and each one has a bunch of different weapon and skill options that you can choose based on how you want to play. In other words, you can build your own one-of-a-kind team based on exactly how you want to play the game. I like to play very attack-heavy, so most of the champions that I use often are based around attacking. But that means I do struggle a bit on defense, so I never go into a battle without War Priest, my support champion. She's incredibly useful for healing other champions. My favorite game mode is definitely the campaign. I find the story really compelling. It really makes me feel like me and my close friends are going on a mission to save Teleria. But if that's not your thing, there are so many other ways to play. You can grind dungeons to get potions, play faction wars that limit which champions you can use, enter the combat arena against other players' champions, and so much more. Not only is there a ton to do already, but there's more and more being added to the game all the time. Raid just released the Artifact Forge, which lets you craft artifacts directly, and a new advanced quest system. Along with that, there are new champions being added all the time, and they're currently working on making the Doom Tower, which sounds awesome just from the name of it. I can't wait to try it. Any new players who click on the links in the description will get 100,000 silver, which is a huge head start, and they'll get a brand new champion called Slasher. Look at Slasher. Wouldn't you want him to be a part of your team? Once you do all that, your rewards will be waiting in your inbox. So what are you waiting for? Download Raid Shadow Legends today using the links in the description. Technique 1. See no cube, hear no cube. If you can use this technique, getting away with cubing on Zoom is super easy. There are only 2 steps. Turn off your webcam and mute your mic. If your teacher can't see or hear you, there's literally no way they could tell that you're cubing in class. As long as you're listening just enough that you can tune back in when you need to type in chat or turn on your mic to answer a question, you're all good.
The answer is null 14, Brody.
You can cube away with no restrictions. Any puzzle, no matter how big or how loud, and you can turn quickly without having to worry about the noise, and if you get a good time, you could jump around and celebrate as much as you want. The only problem with this technique is that a lot of classes require you to turn on your webcam for attendance, so in that case, this technique wouldn't work. But luckily, I have a couple more techniques that will help you even in that situation. Technique 2. Out of sight, out of mind. Even if your webcam is on, you have a great deal of control over what everyone else sees. You only have to show them this tiny box of your reality, and as long as you're cubing outside of that tiny box, you're good. So let's show you how to do that. Line up your webcam so that it only shows you from the shoulders up. If you can do that, you have this entire triangular area under the webcam where you can cube without anyone seeing it. And as long as you keep your mic muted, they won't be able to hear it either. There is still some more nuance to this technique though. You need to be much more careful about how you move and how you act. This means you can't use any cubes that take big arm movements to turn, and you need to be much more careful about not reacting to any solves. But if you can do that, you should still be able to do 3x3 at full speed and time yourself. Even then, there's one more thing that you need to be extra careful about: your eye line. You know how teachers can tell if you're on your phone in class, even if they can't see your phone? It's because you'll constantly be looking down. And on Zoom, teachers will be looking out for that even more. The best thing you can do is experiment with where you're holding your cube in order to make it seem like you're kind of just doing notes with your hand position. And then if you can mix that in with eye contact with the teacher occasionally, it'll be extra convincing. The one issue is that if you hold your cube where you'd hold notes, you'll have less vertical space before your cube will be visible on your webcam. So you need to experiment and find a perfect balance between making your eye line convincing and keeping your cube out of view. So the first technique is super low risk, but not everyone will be able to pull it off. The second technique is a little bit riskier, but it is more accessible to everyone. But there is one more technique I can show you. In some ways, it's definitely the most risky, and it's the hardest to pull off. But if you can pull it off well, it's almost completely foolproof. Technique 3, camouflage. So you know how Zoom lets you set a custom background for your video? This technique is going to use that. Not only can you set your background to make it look like you're on the beach, or in space, or wherever, you can use it to cube in class without having the teacher suspect a thing. If you set your background to be a 30-second video of you looking engaged and paying attention, and then block your webcam with a sticky note or something, then voila! You can be right there cubing away, but the teacher will still think you're right there. That is, until you need to talk. That's the one flaw with this technique. If you need to turn on your mic and talk, then the illusion shatters. So if there's any risk of that happening, this technique might not be the best one to use. So those are the 3 techniques I've come up with. I'm sure there are more, and I'm sure that you can mix and match aspects of these techniques in order to fit your specific situation. If you have any suggestions for how to do that, leave them in the comments below. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and help me get closer to 100K, and subscribe to Mason's channel because he was very helpful in making this video. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you have a great day. This is Brody, signing out.